Greetings, traveler. I'm sure you've heard the term indie, startup, entrepreneur, and other similar terms in the games industry when it comes to someone who wants to create video games. But as a game maker, I would encourage you to be none of these things. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 14 years now, and basically every time I hear about a new game starting or someone starting a new company or someone starting work on their own game project, somewhere in there the terms indie, startup, entrepreneur, and so on would come up. And I have found in my experience those terms to be extremely unhelpful to the progress and to the success of that person. The reason for that is that there is an inherent element of attempt, of an effort, of a try involved with every of these terms. So whenever somebody announces themselves as such, there is the element of, I'm trying this thing, I'll see how it goes, maybe it's not going to go anywhere, we'll see if we get investment, we'll see if the game is good, we'll see how things go. And in my experience, I have always identified this lack of commitment and this lack of purpose and drive when pursuing this goal. Furthermore, the term itself is problematic. So what exactly does indie mean? Is it individual? Is it independent? Independent of what? A publisher? Funding? A big company? There's many so-called indie games that have all of these things: publishers, funding. They are made in big companies as standalone projects or as a separate team projects and so on. When an indie game is successful, it might be purchased by a bigger company to be expanded upon and make new continuations in the series based on that. So what does exactly independent mean? Independent of what exactly? And furthermore, this brings the question, what does it matter if it's indie or not? What does it matter if the company making the game is a startup or not? What does it matter if the person making a game is an entrepreneur? How does that bear any impact whatsoever on the type of game that's being created and the final result of the game? Is saying, we're just an indie studio, does that mean that the game shouldn't be good or shouldn't be of high quality? Or if someone says, yeah, I'm just an entrepreneur in games, does that mean that that person is not expected to produce a good game in a reasonable time horizon? All these questions are always coming up when I talk to people who are in that situation, and every time that discussion comes up, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not part of the big companies. We're our own thing." So does that mean that you're going to develop and publish it all 100% yourself? Oh no, we have a publisher. So then what is the point of being an indie? And we're just trying it. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, we'll do some other job afterwards. I find this hugely problematic. Every time I hear talk like that, I always think back to the Star Wars movie where Luke is saying, I'm trying to do it. And Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. So why should it be any different for game developers and game makers? We have chosen a profession, we stick with it, and we see it through. Of course, we want to make our products and our games as good as we can possibly make them. Being an indie or not, being an entrepreneur or not, calling yourself a startup, what difference does it make? The way I see it, we are people and we're making games, and that's all that matters. And since we're doing this full time, it's our profession. It doesn't matter if this is your first day doing it or your 10,000th day doing it. It's simply what we do, and striving for excellence in what we do is all that should be important. Anyway, I wanted to mention this because I've heard these terms a lot in the last decade or so, and I never understood what's the difference between calling yourself as one of these things and simply doing the work. And in my experience, calling yourself one of these things will only have a negative effect. It never has a positive effect. I've never heard someone say, oh, because we're an indie, we're gonna make a game better than a big company, or because we're a startup, we're gonna make sure our game is super successful. It's always followed by, we're just an indie, we cannot do so much, or we're just a startup, we're missing people. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying this, I'm trying that, we'll see what happens, we'll see what works. All these things simply, in my experience, set you up for being lost along the way and not being able to stick with something long enough to see it become a success. So what I have found in my experience is not worrying so much about the titles and simply focusing on producing something as high quality as possible to delight players as much as possible is the only thing that matters. And if someone asks, what do? You can simply say, I make games. Anyway, these are my thoughts that I wanted to share today. I'm sure this is going to be extremely controversial, but the point of this channel is for me to share as much of what I have learned over the years. And if this helps at least one other person out there, one other traveler like you who is navigating this world, then that will make me extremely happy. Anyway, that's it for today. As always, have fun.